Good morning. Welcome to another Facebook Live. I am Simon Scholes. I am the creative director and founder of Perception Studios. We're an award-winning visual marketing agency based in the south of England, and we help brands and businesses with their digital content to help give their customers and potential customers a better digital experience of their brand and of the business and things like that. Last week I was chatting all about a little bit about social media, and it got me thinking a bit more about social media and some of the different things that you can do with content on your social content. One of the things that we try to help people with at Perception Studios is educating them exactly what type of video you should be using and where you should be using it and actually what you should be doing. A lot of people have websites that work really well for them, but they're still told to have a video on their website. And actually, if your website's working really well for you and already bringing customers in, do you really need a video on your website to keep them there because they're already using it? A video is great, but why spend your money right now on that? Maybe what you want is more people visiting your website, so then you can afford the video even more easily even at the end of the day. So this is where we come in and try and help people understand what they could be using elsewhere, and especially on the social media. And this is what I want to talk about this morning, is Cinemagraphs. Now, you might have seen Cinemagraphs before, you may not have done. In the lead up to this talk and this Facebook Live, I have been posting Cinemagraphs on our Facebook page. So if you open up another tab and go and have a look at those on the Facebook page, you'll see some examples of what Cinemagraphs have done in the past and who's used them. So many amazing brands have used them. People like Grey Goose, you've had Starbucks, Costa, loads of drinks brands, fashion brands have used them, hairdressing brands. Just literally, they're all over now, and they're such an amazing tool and a great way for you to really increase interactivity and the visuality of your actual content. A simple photograph and then a simple cinemagraph, the two compared to each other, the cinemagraph gets so much more interaction. But we'll talk about that in a little while. So they were invented or come up by a couple of guys, Kevin Berg and Jamie Beck. They were fashion photographers, and this is where it all really started. They made cinemagraphs, realizing that looking at a photograph, actually, how much better would it be if an element of that was moving to really try and draw people's attention into the content. How many times do you see people using their phones, their mobile phones, and they're scrolling, and they're not really taking in anything until something really captures their attention. And even photographs, it could be the greatest photograph in the world, but still people would kind of go scroll, double tap, and use Instagram that way. But if you've got a photograph where it's actually a still, but something's moving within the still, that really captures people's attention and really gets them thinking about what it is that they're able to do with a photograph, and draws them into your product and into your brand. It's a really, really great way of trying to get people to interact with you. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, social media is a room full of people shouting. It's how creatively you're actually shouting that will draw people to your brand and your product, which is where Cinemagraphs come in. They help with better performing adverts. They are fairly cheap to produce, so they don't cost as much as having a full-scale showcase video made for your product or your brand. And they still help with storytelling, and that's the most important part of any visual piece of content that you put together, or even a blog that you put out and written content. Every business has got a story, and you just need to be able to tell it, and that's what we try and do here at Perception Studios as well. So let's have a think a little bit about Cinemagraphs and how they can actually be used. Like I say, loads of great brands have been using them, but where can you actually use them? So number one is online. So first things first, you could actually put them onto your website. Cinemagraphs are small file sizes. They don't take particularly long to play, which means the file size is smaller. And if you upload it onto your website, you can get it to loop, and it won't slow down the speed of your loading times on your website. In fact, it'll probably load a little bit quicker, and you can host it natively so it loads even faster and looks even better, so you can have a really high quality piece of content on your, maybe your header bar or places like that. You've seen websites, I'm sure, where they're single page below the fold scrolling, and at the very top there's a video that's playing in the background. That could just simply be a cinemagraph. For example, we did a cinemagraph for a bathrooms company, and their header bar became a bath which was filling and filling and filling and constantly filling. And it's something really simple like that. So have a think about how you could maybe use them on your website. There is also the possibility that you could use them in your social media. This is what I talked about a little bit earlier on at the start of the talk. So the way it can actually increase the interactivity on your content is just incredible. Pepsi did a social media campaign recently where they did some A/B testing on their social media with a Cinemagraph and a basic still. And the still was exactly the same as the Cinemagraph, just the Cinemagraph had the motion subject or the motion aspect to it. The Cinemagraph performed 5,100 times better than the photograph, simply because of that moving subject within the content. It is phenomenal to think that many more people could actually interact with a piece of content, because that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people to actually interact with it, to like your content, to favorite it, to share it, to actually comment on it, to talk to you about it, to talk to other people who are watching your content. This is what makes a piece of content go viral. You can't make a viral piece of content, but if you can draw people to your content in a more creative way, then there's more chance of it going viral. And that's how Cinemagraphs really, really work. They're so fundamental in that. You can use them on Instagram, you can use them on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. If you're not using Snapchat as a business, get using it. We'll cover that another time. But oh my word, make sure you're using it. Advertising is so cheap on Snapchat at the moment as well, because it's been used by really, really young age groups and actually starting to be used by people who can use it, like me and you and other people and stuff. Anyway, we're not going to go there, but yeah, it is phenomenal. Another brand used Cinemagraphs in America, and this was really, really interesting. They were a bowling company, and they wanted to draw people to come to their bowling alley over the Christmas period, use the bowling alley more, especially during their quiet times. They used Cinemagraphs to do this. They made content that was video content that tied in with it, and they put together this whole campaign, and their click-through rates on their content went up by 61%. That is massive. Imagine 61% more people clicking through on your website because of a piece of content that they've seen on Facebook. If you're already using a photograph and, say, 10 people have clicked on it, imagine another 61% of that. So imagine another 5 people clicking on it. Now put that into the hundreds. Now put that into the thousands. And you're going to get some serious people coming to look at your content and watch it and see what you're doing on your website and find out more about you as a business and potentially hit them with the message that you're really trying to hit them with. Also, they had 2.1 million people look at that content as well. So that's a lot of eyeballs. So that's just one area you could use it online. Cinemagraphs are also really great for email campaigns. A lot of people have never really thought about doing this. So they'll put a video in or they'll write an email campaign and put a photograph in and stuff like that. But if you take your Cinemagraph and make it into a GIF, you can drag in that into your email campaign. And as long as you're obeying all the new GDPR laws, which are coming up later on this year with your email software, drag and drop in that Cinemagraph. Again, it's really going to increase interactivity on your content that way as well. One other way, which I think is really interesting and is an area that I'm talking to people about at the moment, is digital display. You're walking down the high street. How many times do you walk past the shop and you see a digital display in the window? And it's purely stills. M&S do it. Tony and Guy do it. There's a few other brands I've seen doing it. I think Greg's do it as well. But if that still is there, it captures your attention and you see it once, but you don't stop and come back again, or you don't see it the next time you go past. Now imagine that digital display showing a Cinemagraph. With all those results that you've heard about before on social media, on websites, on emails, imagine those results on the high street. If you have a shop front and you have a product that could truly lend itself to a Cinemagraph, and trust me, pretty much every product can, you've just got to have the creative mindset to think about how you would put it together, man, you could be cleaning up, absolutely cleaning up. Imagine if Tony and Guy's digital display in the front window of their shop had a Cinemagraph of somebody's hair being cut and the hair's constantly flowing and the rest of it is still. The hair constantly dropping to the floor, and the sheen of the light coming over the hair when it's finished to show it. And just little subtle things can really make a big difference to how your marketing that you're already putting out there can work even better for you. So if I could make any suggestion about Cinemagraphs, it's give it a try, number one, and test it. Really see how much better it works for you than other different formats of content that you're putting out. Trust me, you really will see a difference. If you're already getting interactions with your content, Cinemagraphs will lift that interaction to a completely new level, 100%. So if you want to know more about Cinemagraphs or any type of visual content that could really help your social media perform and just blow the competition out of the water, I'd love to have a chat with you. You can leave your questions in the comments section. I think it's over there, is it? Yeah, somewhere around there. Go and leave some comments. I'll answer any questions that you guys have. Thanks ever so much for watching this Facebook Live. And if you're around next week, I'm going to be doing another one more on social media again and more on Facebook Live, repurposing of content. So until then, thanks ever so much for watching. Have a good one and take care. Bye.